Good morning, dear students. Let's begin our social science class. In continuation with geography, NCRT, chapter number 1, Resources and Development. Today we are continuing our new heading, Soil as a Resource. Soil is the most important renewable natural resource, as it is a natural and it can be replenished. That's why it is a renewable natural resource. It is a medium of plant growth and support different type of living organism on the earth. The soil is a living system. It takes millions of years to form soil up to a few centimeters in depth. Relief, parent rock or bedrock, climate, vegetation, and other form of life and time are important factor in the formation of soil. So the weathering of rock and the formation of soil for about a few centimeters take place in millions of years. Various forces of nature such as change in temperature, action of running water, wind, glacier, activity of decomposer, etc. contribute to the formation of soil. Chemical and organic changes which take place in the soil are equally important. Soil also consists of organic humus and inorganic materials. On the basis of factors responsible for the soil formation, color, thickness, texture, age, chemical and physical properties, the soil of India are classified in different types. Before that, let us study the structure or the soil profile. Now, the layer of soil which we can see on the ground is the topsoil, and it is the thinnest layer. This is the upper soil layer. Below that comes subsoil, that is a weathered rocks and sand and silt clay forms this subsoil. Then substratum formed by weathered parent rock material, and afterward unweathered parent bedrock, means this contains all of the rocks. It is not weathered. Now let's see the soils. First we'll see is alluvial soil. Now these all the soils are important 3-mark questions, so you have to write the question will be write a short note on alluvial soil, black soil, and this you need to do in copy. Every paragraph will be not in more than 3 points. This is most widely spread and important soil. In fact, the entire northern plain are made of alluvial soil. So when we see in India, the northern plains composed of alluvial soil, these have been deposited by 3 important Himalayan river systems, Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. These soil also extend in Rajasthan and Gujarat through a narrow corridor. Alluvial soil is also found in east coastal plains, particularly in delta of Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. So there we see the alluvial soil is found. Alluvial soil consists of various proportion of sand, silt and clay. As we move inland toward river valley, soil particle appears somewhat bigger in size. In the upper reaches of the river valley, that is near the place of break of slope, the soil are coarse. Such soil are more common in Piedmont plains like Duars, Chos and Terai. Apart from size of their grains or component, soil are also described on the basis of their age. According to their age, alluvial soil can be classified as old alluvial like Bangar and new alluvial like Khadad. The Bangar soil has high concentration of kankar nodules that are Khadar than the Khadar. So when we see the old alluvial soils, they have more stone that are kankar than the Khadar, and it has more fine particle and is more fertile than Bangar. Alluvial soil as whole are very fertile. Mostly these fertile means these are suitable for plant growth. Mostly these soil contain adequate proportion of potash, phosphoric acid, lime, which are ideal for the growth of sugarcane, paddy, wheat and other cereal and pulse crops. Due to its high fertility, region of alluvial soil are intensively cultivated and densely populated. Soil in drier areas are more alkaline and can be productive after proper treatment and irrigation. Now let's see what are the black soil. So these soils are black in color and are also known as rigor soils. Now this is a very important 1-mark question. Black soil is ideal for growing cotton and is known as black cotton soil. So that's the only the one main crop that grows in black soil is cotton. That's why we often refer to as black cotton soil. It is believed that climatic condition along with the parent rock material are the important factor of the formation of black soil. This type of soil is typical of Deccan trap like basalt region spread over northwest Deccan Plateau and is made up of lava flow. They cover plateau of Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and extend in southeast direction along Godavari and Krishna valleys. So black soil is covered in most of the areas of India, in South India probably. The black soil are made up of extremely fine, that is clayey material. They are well known for their capacity to hold moisture, and in addition they are rich in soil nutrients such as calcium carbonate, magnesium, potash and lime. These soils are generally poor in phosphoric contents. They develop deep cracks during the hot weather, which helps in the proper aeration of soil, and these soils are sticky when wet and difficult to work on unless chilled immediately after the first shower or during the pre-monsoon period. Now let's see where the black soil is located. So first we see the distribution of alluvial soil. So alluvial soil is light green in color and it is distributed in most of the northern plains, and also we can see that in Gujarat some parts, and in Rajasthan also it has a distribution belt. For black soil, it is over here represented by a skin color, or we can say a grey color, light grey color, which is occupying most of the central parts of India, occupying Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, and many more. Now let's discuss about the laterite soil. Laterite has been derived from Latin word later, which means brick. So it is brick-like soil. The laterite soil develop under tropical and subtropical climate with alternate wet and dry season. This soil is result of intense leaching due to heavy rain. Laterite soil are mostly deep to very deep. That is, these have acidic and these have a pH of less than 6. So on a pH scale, when we see the neutral soils have a 7 pH, acidic have less than 7, and basic have more than 7. Generally deficient in plant nutrients and occur mostly in southern states, Western Ghats region of Maharashtra, Odisha, some parts of West Bengal, northeast regions. Wherever these soils support deciduous and evergreen forests, and it is humus rich also, but under the sparse vegetation and in semi-arid environment, it is generally humus poor. They are prone to erosion and degradation due to their position of the landscape. After adopting appropriate soil conservation techniques, particularly in the hilly areas of Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, so we see the laterite soils are found over in the southern India. This soil is very useful for growing tea and coffee also. So we see that some parts of South India are very famous for growing coffee because of the presence of laterite soil over there. Red laterite soil in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala are more suitable for crops like cashew nut also. So when we see over here, the laterite soil is represented by skin color actually, and in the traces these are obtained in our India. So we see first at the Western Ghats, these laterite soils are in abundance. Then we see in the some parts of after Kolkata and there, these laterite soils are found, as well as when we see in the bottom. So we also see the laterite soil present in the some parts of Kerala as well as Tamil Nadu. Let's discuss about the arid soils. Arid soils range from red to brown in color. They are generally sandy in texture and saline in nature. So they are salty or they are saline, and they are sandy. In some areas the salt content is very high and common salt is obtained by evaporating the water. So this is also one of the important features of arid soil, that these are highly saline in some areas and used to obtain the salt. Due to the dry climate, high temperature evaporation is faster and soil lacks humus and moisture. The lower horizon of soil are occupied by conker because of the increasing calcium content downwards. As we go down, as we dig down the arid soil, we see more and more conker because the calcium content is rich over there. Conker layer formation in the bottom horizon restrict the infiltration of the water, and after proper irrigation these soils become cultivable, as has been in the case of Western Rajasthan. So when we see a proper irrigation is done to arid soils, these can also become cultivable. Forest soil. These soils are found in hilly areas and mountainous areas where sufficient rainforests are available. So when we see in the map, the dark green color soils are forest soils, which are on the top, occupying some these union territories like Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh. Then we see there's some part of Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, and where we see over here it is Bhutan, and some near Bhutan there is Sikkim, there we find, and in some parts of East India also we find the forest or mountainous soil. They are loamy and silty in valley side and coarse grained in the upper slope. In snow-covered areas of Himalayas, these soils experience denudation and are acidic with low humus content. The soil found in lower part of valley, particularly on the river terraces and alluvial fen, are fertile. So we see this is a small content for the forest soil. Now let's discuss the most important topic for the soil chapter, that is the soil erosion and the conservation. The denudation of the soil cover means the removal of the soil cover and subsequent washing down is described as soil erosion. The process of soil formation and erosion go on simultaneously, and generally there is a balance between the two. Sometimes this balance is disturbed due to human activities like deforestation, overgrazing, construction, mining, etc., while natural forces like wind, glacier, water lead to soil erosion. The running water cuts through the clayey soil and makes deep channels as gullies. So when we see that the running water that can be due to a flood or due to the rivers, these cut the soil from between wherever it passes and it form the gully, and this also lead to erosion. So in figure 1.11 you can see that it is a gully erosion. The land become unfit for cultivation and is known as badland. In the Chambal basin, such lands are called ravines. Sometimes water flows as a sheet over large areas or down a slope. In such cases, the top soil is washed away, and this is known as sheet erosion. So there are two types we see. First is gully erosion, then we see the badland, and then we see sheet erosion. Wind blow loose soil off flat or sloping land known as wind erosion. So the fourth one we see is wind erosion, that the soil is eroded due to wind. Soil erosion is caused due to defective method of farming also. Plowing is a wrong way, that is up and down the slope from channels of quick flow of water leading to soil erosion. Now we have already discussed in our class 8 about in chapter number 1 crop production and management, where we saw what we mean by plowing. It gains the nutrients back to the top layer of soil, and it is a good method for cultivation, but if we do it in a wrong way, it will lead to soil erosion. Plowing along the counter lines can decelerate the flow or reduce the speed of the flow of water down the slope. This is called contour plowing. Steps can be cut out on the slopes, making terraces, and terrace cultivation restricts the erosion. So this is the second point. We saw that contour plowing or plowing around the field area, there the water will not come around, and it is a contour plowing. Then we saw that in the terrace cultivation also it restricts the erosion if we are making the steps. Now third point, after that Western and Central Himalayas have developed the terrace farming. Now third point, large field can be divided into strips, means we are dividing it into small belts or strips. Strips of grass are left to grow between the crops. This breaks up the force of wind. So if continuous crops are there, so it can lead to soil erosion, but if there are variety of plants, then they have a variety of capability of holding the soil, and it will reduce the wind force. This break up the force of wind, and this method is known as strip cropping, the fourth point. Now the fifth point, planting lines of trees to create shelter also work in a similar way. If you are planting a huge enormous amount of trees as a belt near your field, then it will reduce the wind force, and this will also prevent the soil erosion. Rows of such trees are called shelter belts. This is a 1-mark question. And also our fifth point, these shelter belts have contributed significantly to the stabilization of sand dunes and in stabilizing the desert in western India. So basically farmers in western India prioritize the shelter belts as the source for preventing the soil erosion. Let's read some box, that is the state of India's environment. The village of Sukhomajri and the district of Jhabua have shown that it is possible to reverse land degradation. Tree density in Sukhomajri increased from 13% per hectare, means in 1 hectare there are 13 trees in 1976 to 1272 per hectare in 1992. So this is such an enormous amount of increasing the trees so that to prevent the soil erosion, and these land degradation can be reversed by planting more and more trees. Regeneration of environmental leads to economic well-being as a result of greater source availability, improved agriculture and animal care, and consequently increased incomes. Average annual household income in Sukhomajri ranged from rupees 10,000 to 15,000 between 1979 and 1984. People management is essential for ecological restoration, with people being made the decision maker by Madhya Pradesh government. 2.9 million hectare or about 1% of India's land area are being greened across the state through watershed management. So there are various other processes through which you can grow the trees to prevent the soil erosion. So that's all for the day. Thank you and have a nice day.